Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Mysticons, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
And April Collins.
Hello.
Today, Delaney, April, and I are back once again to discuss Mysticons, this time episode 17, Quest of the Vexed, that aired this morning on Nickelodeon. Mysticons airs 8:30 a.m. on Sundays on Nickelodeon, and this was in various other countries as well in different points. But we're almost synced up globally, actually. Everyone else has paused, waiting for the US to catch up. And we'll be new for the rest of December until, except for the last week as well. So a lot more Mysticons to come. Find all of our Mysticons coverage at the Overly Animated Podcast at overlyanimated.com. Or search for Overly Animated Mysticons on iTunes and subscribe there on YouTube to not miss any of our future Mysticons episode recaps. Spoilers for this episode. Make sure you've seen this and all previous episodes of Mysticons. But Delaney, what did you think of Quest of the Vexed?
I liked it. I thought it was a good episode. You know, M's fun. All the characters were fun. Like, I think there were good character moments to everybody. It was a funny episode. Like, it was cool. There was some, like, neat, you know, like, mythology kind of building stuff. Like, I liked the jingle. It was pretty funny. It was kind of like the pony unicorn thing. I don't quite remember, but the My Little Pony reference that happened previously. It did seem, you know, this might be one of the more, like, stereotypical, like, episodes of the show, in that, like, well, I guess I should say tropey, in that you have, like, you do, like, oh, we're going to focus on this character and this aspect of this character, but we haven't really focused on it, or, like, it's not really prominent in general. Like, this episode didn't really focus on her being unsure, just her just not speaking up, I guess. Because it's one of those kind of, like, they kind of, like, created a conflict that's not necessarily there all the time. Which I think it was important to, like, I'm glad that we kind of addressed the relationship between Arcana and M, because we haven't, like, talked about it, you know, since the very beginning. But overall, I mean, I still like the episode. Like, it was good and it was funny, and, like, M's a great character, so.
Okay, yeah. Thumbs up, because thumbs up on M. That's a good take. I like the take. Okay. April, what'd you think of this episode?
I liked it, but I'm always on board for a good M episode. So I agree with Delaney that this, like, it was like conflict that wasn't really, like, set up before. And I guess, we kind of needed to, like, discuss what Arcana and M's relationship has sort of, like, evolved into since they've become Mysticons. Because before it was sort of set up, like, that they were really good friends and everything like that. But then it kind of made me, like, question, like, is this, like, what their definition of being really good friends is? Because that's kind of messed up. Also, Arcana was a jerk this entire episode, and it just drove me crazy. But there was, it was, like, another, like, really good episode that had, like, a lot of, like, really good lines, and, like, sort of sets up more of, like, like, what's going on in the world. We got a magic hour out of it. So
That's a highlight enough to bring up in the beginning. Okay, I like it.
Yeah, why not? We don't get them every episode.
Yeah, it's true. It's a special occasion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a special occasion. And the other thing, like, whenever they showed, like, the last time on, I just thought it was so weird. I was like, I had to, like, pause it and take a moment and just be like, wait, is this, like, did I, like, miss something? Am I watching the wrong episode? Because, like, this happened, like, a few episodes ago, so I was really confused by that. But otherwise, it was a really good episode. I enjoyed the Kimra. She's one of my favorite, I guess, like, opposing forces. So gets a good thumbs up from me.
Okay. Yeah. I think thumbs up too. This is a really interesting episode. Very unlike any previous Mysticons episode we've had. I think it's very zany would be the word I'd use to describe the episode. Like, we've had humor-based episodes before. And I think they've been some of the least successful episodes of Mysticons. Like A Girl and Her Gum Lump, and maybe episodes 3 and 4 would be the ones that you'd identify as being, like, whose primary purpose is to be funny, and then the rest of the episodes either are primarily character or plot based. And I think this is our first, like, pretty clear success at being a comedy, like, for an episode. And that's a really cool thing, because it shows that Mysticons has a lot of range. And just in addition to just primarily being funny, it's also just weird, like, in its structure. like we end with a fake commercial, which is I was very surprised by. We're playing around with the format of the show. It's kind of like I don't know where to describe it as, like meta or just it's clearly not just showing something that's happening in real time for them. And I thought that was a very interesting choice. Overall, I do think it really works. I think there's a lot of great character stuff as well. So like the combination of that plus just the fact that I think this is probably the funniest episode of Mysticons so far, would I'm unclear like how good it is. I'm like kind of open to this being somewhat of a top tier episode of the show, but I'm also open to this just being good, not great. So, let's see as we get into it here. Yeah. Delaney, what do you think of my take that this is the funniest episode and the first clear success at a comedic episode for Mysticons?
I mean, I definitely agree that it's definitely like the first like real like success at being comedic, like because like it didn't feel like they were trying too hard. And it was just like even the concept played in well, because I liked that like they got angry, but like they were still themselves. It wasn't like, oh, we're all just mad at this one person, but no, they all were just mad, which I appreciated that in the way they like played it, and it was really funny. And the Malveron and Arcana stuff was really funny. I mean, I don't really I thought it was funny. I don't necessarily know if I would say it's like a top tier episode. Like I do think it was a great episode and I really enjoyed it. But we've talked about this previously about like this show just continues to amaze me. And so when it doesn't amaze me, I'm disappointed. But obviously I'm holding the show to like an insanely high standard. But I mean, I did like it. Like I thought it was really good. But I'm also not one to like be really about these kinds of episodes.
Yeah.
But I did like that, like you said, that it was zany. Like it was really funny, and it was definitely a weird episode. But it does show like I'm really proud of like how like this range that we've expressed. Like I like it. I thought it was really funny, and it was definitely like a great comedy. Like and I'm hopeful. Like that means like we'll have less, like oh my god, Piper birthday episodes, and then. And more like episodes that are funny like this, and they're like actually legitimately funny. It's not like, oh, that was supposed to be funny, but I don't actually think it's funny.
It wasn't forced comedy. That's what I liked about it.
The Piper birthday stuff was the best part of the episode. Anyway, it's the gum lumps that's the not great.
I just couldn't remember the name of the episode.
Yeah, girl and her gum lump. Obviously very memorable to us, but I guess I somewhat disagree that we're not like forcing it as much here. I think that like if anything, this episode has more jokes per minute than we've ever seen before. So to that extent, we are kind of forcing it. It's just successful, like in its attempts.
I guess
that's the thing. It doesn't feel forced.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Like for example, like I'm sorry if y'all watched Thor Ragnarok and thought it was really funny. That movie is so forced and it makes me want to die.
Okay, you're gonna get hate comments.
That's fine, but this episode doesn't make me want to do that. So
okay. Yeah. It doesn't feel. Yeah, I think that's the key. It doesn't feel forced. Okay,
yeah, that's the thing. Like, obviously, this like comedy episodes are forced comedy. Like, that's how they work.
Right.
Like, that's how they function.
Right.
But this episode didn't feel that way.
Yeah, I think you also brought up, I think maybe my favorite comedic part of the episode, which was the when the like anger zombies and just the kind of recurring joke we have of a character saying something and then being turned into a zombie and then losing track of what they were saying. So we
it's
get
really good.
Yeah, I think that's my highlight with Kimra. We had Doug in there. Yeah. April, what do you think of cosign on potentially funniest episode of the show?
I could cosign to that. Like, I don't know. It's always so hard to like rank episodes against each other because I feel like they're always like different, and then we get a lot of like really heavy plot stuff, and so this is just kind of like a very unique episode that we've seen so far. Like, I agree to that. And I think what makes it funny too is that it's all like very natural, and it's natural to the characters. Like, they're not saying anything that you wouldn't expect, that like that's not like out of character for them to say in terms of like in the context of what's going on, like with them being angry and things like that. Like, even like the moment where like Zarya hits Doug with an arrow, and he's like, "Hey, I know we're really angry, but that stung a little." And I'm I was like, that was fine. Like, I didn't have any problems with that. So, but yeah, I could co-sign to it being like one of the funniest episodes of this season or of the show thus far.
Yeah, I really enjoyed when they're all the zombies and yet they're still like self-aware to a certain extent. I thought that was a big success. Yeah. Yeah, just the whole like last 5 minutes ish of the episode really comes together well, I think.
Yeah, and they're all just fighting each other like with no reason. It's just madness.
Yeah, it's good. One other thing you brought up, April, that I thought was a great point was that this was one of the first attempts we've made to really depict the Arcana and M kind of friendship that existed before the show. And I really appreciate that we're trying to get into that more, and we're kind of just dealing with issues between them. And it's definitely a kind of like an Arcana and M spotlight episode, and we get the M focus with her dealing with her anger issues, and also I guess the moral ends up being just speak out about what's upsetting you, which is, I think, which I personally agree with being the correct thing to take away from this.
The moral is literally don't bottle up your feelings.
Yes.
Like, literally.
Yes, like literally the whole concept of the episode, yeah. And, yes, and we also get, like, Arcana just being like, stop being a jerk. That's a good one, too. And then also their friendship, I feel like, and they just need to vocalize their feelings more to each other, I guess, is a good takeaway. I have a hot take right away. I think the M character stuff is some of the weakest parts of the episode. Like, I prefer most other things that are happening, because I do think we kind of lost track of, like, M's, like, screaming into the thing, and then, you know, it ends up just being she just needs to speak up, but, like, what does that have to do with really anything else that's happening?
Well, it just felt weird because, like, Arcana doesn't normally act that way. Like, Arcana's not, like, a giant jerk. Like, she does stuff that's kind of jerkish, but, like, it was just super exaggerated, and I think that was probably what was forced, really, was kind of, like, this drama that happened.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my bigger hot takes, and since you brought it up. I actually think this is maybe Arcana's best character episode ever.
What?
Because she's just something, you know, like she's just like she's
not just a lead character with nothing.
she's just we've talked about this a lot on the podcast. The show's one of the main struggles is displaying any sort of personality for Arcana, and we display a lot of personality for her. She's like a giant jerk, but like I prefer that to nothing. Yeah. And like it was over the top for comedic effect, but I kind of like just Arcana being like not aware of how she's affecting others. I think that's realistic given her like royalty position and like her position as head of the Mysticons. And like I also think that her displaying clear feelings for Malvron, that was a success. It's like, okay, we're not just doing this 10 levels under the surface for no reason. I liked
we've
Arcana.
Legitimately brought it to the surface.
yes. We'll talk about the Arcana Malvron, a big part of the episode. But I liked what I saw from Arcana more than I had before, because I was more interested in what she was doing.
I didn't like that she was a huge jerk, but I just sort of took it as like an over exaggeration, because like, I don't know, it was, I guess, like an M episode, and like her struggling with her relationship with Arcana. And so maybe like in my head, I was just like, oh, she's being a really big jerk. But then like upon the second watch through, I was like, okay, well maybe like they're just trying to make her seem like a really big jerk to sort of like emphasize like M's frustrations and things like that. Like, of course M should be mad because look at how big of a jerk she's being.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's definitely why they're doing that. Yeah, it's to show the M's perspective on it. That's why we have to show Arcana being so jerky. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, again, brought up, like, my whole, like, okay, but what was their relationship before this show kind of thing? Like, was she always this big of a jerk, or are we just doing that for the purposes of this show? Because that's going to bring about, like, a whole new thing if, like, this is who Arcana really kind of is. You know?
Yeah, and I think they kind of got into that, like, very briefly with Zarya telling her in the beginning, you're not her Griffin Wrangler anymore. Which kind of, like, hinted at there being a power imbalance for their previous dynamic. That doesn't exist anymore now that they're both Mysticons. If M was her like servant previously, and now that they're on equal footing, and Arcana is still treating her like her servant, I thought that was like a really interesting thing to maybe get into, but we also don't really get into it that much.
Yeah, they brought it up more, like, and it's just like it's interesting that they would bring it up and not like expand upon it. But then again, it could be something that we like get into more later.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think so. Okay, yeah, we got to talk about Arcana Malvron. We've been calling this Astro Mage. A lot of discussion on what to call this relationship. We've been calling this Astro Mage for months. You can, if you want to listen to us, you can. If not, that's fine. But it's Arcana Malvron romance. They both. What's the takeaway here? We learned that they both clearly have feelings for each other. Correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. How are we feeling about this?
It's fine. Just finally get it over with. It's being really annoying.
Right.
I really like when it was like, we'd all be really happy for you. Like, that was like, that honestly was like maybe my favorite part of the episode was when Em was like, we'd all be really like, she's yelling that. It was really good.
She's really angry about it, but not
Also,
at the same time.
Voice actress, great job. Quality.
Yeah, for M, yeah, Ebony Rosen was great. Yeah, just the whole episode too. But M says, would you just admit you like Malvron already? I'll be really happy for you. We really would. And Arcana says, but seriously, you think I like Malvron? And you think he likes me? Like that's like more emotions than Arcana's ever displayed on the show.
No, I agree. And like the look on her face was really good. Like all of it was good.
Like the squinty eyes and everything.
Yeah. And then the scene after that when they're both the anger zombies, why would you do that? I liked you. And Malvron says, I have a hard time picking up signals.
It's just great.
Yeah.
Actually, I will even though it's like the most obvious ship and it all kinds of kind of makes us all like cringe a little bit, but like I think that this like coming to light of their feelings is actually like really kind of hilarious, and I'm not like upset about it at all. Like them like coming up like forward in fits of rage, like that's the best.
Yeah, I think this is like a great way to handle just the super obvious boy girl relationship on the show. Like just bringing it up in terms of your zany humor concept in episode 17. Like, and that's what brings it to the surface. I think that's actually pretty like really funny on a meta
in like
level.
An episode that doesn't even focus on either one of those characters. Like I think that's great. Like I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, I think we're like kind of making fun of the relationship like in this episode, like Arcana and Malvron.
It's like a self-aware, you're the most obvious ship, so let's bring it to light in like the most crazy way possible. Like also super weird that his password is Arcana.
What, you don't make your password your crush? That's not how that works.
No.
And I guess the writing system is like symbols of two. Anyway, that's for Crispy to take care of. Yeah, I
really need to understand what the language is now and how it works. Like,
yeah. The other big Arcana Malveron was in the beginning, of course, with the training. And Malveron says she's adorable when she's ruthless. I feel like this is probably out of character for Malveron, but that's fine.
But I like that Doug called him out on it too. He's like, adorable? Like
Yeah. And then he comes over and puts his hands on her shoulders, and she's like really bashful. And then you were on fire. And then Piper mocks them. Like, you were on fire.
That was I really like that. Like they just called them out. Like because instead of like just dancing around it and pretend like talking about it later, like no, they just immediately call them out, and it's amazing.
That is in front of them.
Yes, this is the beauty of Piper. Is she is not afraid to do these things like right in front of her. Yeah. It was just a squeeze, and there is nothing going on between us. They both say so. Yeah.
That's like their tagline. There's nothing going on between us.
Yeah. 17 episodes, nothing going on between us. And are we even going to take anything away from this? Because they're both anger zombies when they admitted their feelings for each other. So, I don't know if this is going to be like, I don't think they're going to immediately start dating, unfortunately.
That'd be really great though, if that's the reason. Like, I would love that actually.
Next episode, they're on a date.
Yeah. We really should just, I guess it doesn't matter because it's not like there's been negative consequences of putting this relationship under the surface. It's just like a little frustrating because they're building up to something, but it's obvious, and also neither of them are the greatest characters.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
we're building up the worst characters of like characterized characters of the show to be together.
Probably the two most underdeveloped characters on the show, along with Tasma, Arcana and Malveron. So
Tasma's never coming back.
Tasma's gonna be back. Just hold on. Yeah, it has been a little bit, but yeah. So we'll see. But it was. I think this I think surpasses All Hail Necrofa as the strongest Arcana Malveron episode, I would say.
Yes.
Although the runes in the sky is still great. Those are the best moments. This and that.
This one was better.
Yeah, I think so. Let's talk about. So we talked about Arcana and her like mistreatment of M, and it's played to like significant comedic effect in the beginning of the episode. In that training scene, in the beginning, Arcana's just like blasting everyone and like stealing Zarya's weapon, and it's like, are you just that OP?
Show off a
yeah.
palooza.
Yeah, show off a palooza. Yeah. In the app, Arcana's not like the strongest one, so I don't know why she's just dominating the training. But it was the app. Is that are the stats on the app canon? I need to know that. Then we got Arcana steal it. Get like when they have this whole purse sequence with their purse shopping for ghoul cheese.
Cool cheese.
Yeah. It's then like Kimra steals them and they get them back, and Arcana's like, everything's gonna be okay now. And she's like, what was that? I was just talking to the purses. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay, my little snookums. Yeah, that's what I thought that was very funny. And she's like, it was just an off day for you, Em.
Right.
Yeah. Sad. I think we get to a good place with that where, it's M speaks up and, they hug and yeah, everything's good with Arcana M, I think, at the end.
Yay.
Yeah. I think as I talked about before, one of the big comedic highlights is the like when people turn into the anger. I keep saying zombies. It's not really that. The spread of the anger virus or whatever. Maybe definitely one of the lines of the episode when it affects everyone. We see Kimra. We have the sequence. She's like, maybe Kimra has seen error for ways.
Oh
no, forget that. Kimra learned nothing.
Yeah, that was really great. I love that. I love that trope too. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, really.
She was so close to a breakthrough.
So close, Kimra. Yeah. Oh, feel bad. Come on, Kim Redemption. Is it happening? Is this what we're teasing about? No, I don't think so.
No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, Tasma Redemption is the one we got to track here. But we also have Doug. When they're like they're like, okay, we got to get the spell off Malveron's spell pad. Apparently.
Oh yeah, and he has the line where he's like, "Don't worry, I know all of Malveron's passwords." And then he gets hit, and he's like, "But I respect his right to privacy," and I just died.
It was really it's a real reversal of what they were doing with that.
I know.
The second one's the good one here. Yeah. I thought that was great. It's and we have just how it like affects. Okay, we got to get into the thing before because there's also the subplot of Gawain and Leticia and Doug in this episode. So
I was so confused by that.
So you'd think that other than this one thing, there's no indication this episode takes place after the previous one, except for the fact that we were dealing with the direct ramifications of the Gawain-Leticia breakup. We're all, all of our Gawain, I forgot what we called it from last episode, Leticia or whatever, we're heartbroken over their demise. But yeah, I think we get a ton of great Gawain sequences here. We see he wants Leticia back, and Leticia's like, "No, I'm dating the dumpster monster now." And M says, "At least she's dating up." Yeah, and then Gawain
that was
says,
really good.
Gawain says, "I'll change, not a lot, but I'll try."
Yeah, that was that was good. And then they like sing their weird breakup song, like whatever that was.
That was the most confusing part because Doug's like. He's like, it was my breakup with my ex that caused me to write. What is it like?
Yeah, If my ex hadn't glyph dumped me, so
yes,
I never would have written "This eye cries for two."
Right, but then I was confused because Gawain knew the lyrics to that.
That means
Doug
that
had
the implication
is he famous?
that exactly. The implication is Doug is like a famous like songwriter or something,
right?
Or like a poet.
I was so confused.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah, Doug is multi-talented, and this is a big Doug and Gawain episode. Characters that potentially previously never interacted on the show. It's not clear why Doug is interacting with Gawain here. It just kind of happens. Are we shipping Doug and Gawain?
You know what? Doug needs happiness too, I guess.
Oh, so that's is Gawain the happiness?
Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. That's everyone's favorite new crack ship, as discussed on our Discord. So, and then again, Gawain's like 1v1ing the dumpster after. It's just this dumpster is an enemy in the app, and it's like just like well, Letitia's just dating it now. Okay. This is their default thing, and they have a dumpster reaction shot of whenever someone throws anything away, like over their shoulder, they just show the dumpster eating it on the show. No, if you note, it's happened several times, and now it's a character, I guess. So I thought that was good. And then they're like hugging it out later. Going in the dumpster, and
he was sorry for all the trash talk.
Yeah, the trash talk. Yeah,
I died.
Yeah. We also
we
also see Mathis and Schnecticus hugging it out, and Kimra on the train.
Yes,
which was good. And then the centaur comes up and starts hitting on Leticia, and she says one word, nay.
There were just so many good lines from this.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I have a lot highlighted here from the surprisingly long outline from the episode. Yeah, and so those are, I think, the things I have as the humor highlights from it. We also, I think, have at the end is Piper doing yoga, and she does the downward centaur. There's just
then it cuts to the centaurs doing yoga.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's just a lot packed in at the end. It's really good. Yeah. It's the whole, the centaurs are also a part of this episode, and at the end they're attacking the toilet. Which on first viewing I was like, why is there a random toilet? But earlier in the episode, the construction worker throws the toilet from the porta potty or something, and it like never lands.
No, it blows up, and he's blows stuck. Up. Yeah.
Yeah. It was it was like 15 minutes before it. I don't think there was enough of a connection there, but the centaurs, they're coming off of their 32-minute mile. And, and they say, some say we shouldn't attack strange deities that fall from the sky. I say nay. Yeah.
The centaurs.
Still not the biggest fan of the centaurs, to be honest. But, that's okay.
They played their role in this episode, and that's all that matters.
Just to attack the canister and
they're just tiny and adorable. Like, it's just great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the M calls them cute or something, right? So, someone calls. Is that this episode?
It was the episode before, because Arya was like, you had to call them adorable or something like that, because that made them angry. I think.
Oh, I think someone says that. Someone says that this episode too. Anger you, but you're so cute.
Yeah. Oh no, Arcana says that to M, because I remember I had a moment where I was.
And she pats her on the head.
Yep, and I was fueled with rage because people say that to me all the time, and I was like, no, this is not okay.
I must announce that I just set my lock screen on my computer as Mysticons.
Well, what Mysticons image?
Oh, it's just the, when it's in the theme song, it's flashes of their eyes.
Okay. Yeah.
That's appropriate.
I thought it was cool.
Thumbs up. Okay.
My desktop is still Kurosami.
Obviously. Yeah. Okay. So I have a lot of good things. Let me talk about the big negatives from the episode, which the problem is the negatives don't really have anything to do with anything, in terms of production. It's not the fault of the writing or any of the animation or whatever. But so we have this previously on that April mentioned.
Made no sense.
This is an episode that does not need a previously on.
I had to rewatch it because I didn't understand what was going on. I thought, I was did I miss something? Because when they cut to the training, I was like, what?
Yeah, it should be noted.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, this did air on Nick. Yeah, it's in the episode. Yeah,
I told you. I seriously thought I was watching the wrong episode.
No, I was so confused.
Yeah, we need to previously on the centaurs because they're a vital part of the episode. But yeah, that was terrible. I did, however, say a few weeks ago that I take the previously on over the long transformation sequence, because the previously on you can just skip through and then just the episode starts.
We got both of.
We had both.
Right, but we had both. And we actually have the worst use of, I've said, this was the worst transformation sequence ever. We have by far the worst here. So we have the one I've complained about a ton, the long transformation sequence with the score, but not the theme song.
The theme song.
If it's the theme song, we don't care because the theme song's cool. But
so we have that, and then they follow it up with their this sequence of them the swinging in the city, which we've used once or twice before, and they do them back to back, and it comes out to a minute 5 seconds in a row of reused animation. And it was really bad. Yeah,
it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, this is
like no.
So like we've talked about the transformation sequences enough on the podcast, but if there's ever an episode to bring it up again, I think it's this one because it's over a minute, and we were talking about this in our Discord, I think a little while ago, and there's a few people that are more fans of or watch more magical girl type stuff than necessarily we do, and their point is that there's a lot of shows that use transformation sequences, and some of them are even worse than this. Like some of them are even longer than a minute. Like this isn't even that bad. And I think fair point.
Like you can appreciate it like as like a genre, like having like transformation sequences are cool. I agree. I liked Power Rangers. I had the Power Ranger Transformer, and I would sit there and pretend that I was becoming a Power Ranger, and it's really cool. And that's how you get kids to buy toys. But it's still really annoying.
Yeah.
Especially, it's really annoying in this show because, like, okay, in Miraculous Ladybug, it doesn't matter. They're going to do the sequence. Fine, I've accepted this. But they don't always do it in this show, and it's like, why? Like, that's why it's awful. You don't know which one you're going to get.
Yeah, you don't know which one you're going to get. And then sometimes it just seems like inappropriate and out of place. Like this episode was, like, so comedic, and then for them to, like, have the transformation sequence one, like, that's fine if it's, like, maybe a shortened version, but you'd use the long version with, like, the orchestral music and not the theme song. And so it just sort of, like, takes you out of the episode almost because, like, if you're going to use the long one and everything like that, I feel like it should be during, like, something that's going on. But this was just, like, we're just taking back handbags from Kimra. Like, there was just no need for it.
Yeah. So
and we're just taking back the ones she bought. Like it's just the ones that Arcana wanted.
Oh yeah. I forgot. Kimra says she needs a bag for each of her outfits, and
that was really good.
She has more than one outfit. Yeah.
That was my favorite because I legitimately had that thought before Zarya said something, and I wrote down very largely like Zarya, get out of my brain.
Yeah. So so we cover, I think 3 shows with transformation sequence. It should be noted. I complain about it in every single, it's not just, I don't just single out Mysticons. I complain about this every show. So Voltron, Miraculous Ladybug in the show. So the difference between this and Miraculous Ladybug, Mysticons and Miraculous Ladybug. Miraculous Ladybug is a show that doesn't really advance the plot episode to episode and does the same things every time. And it's kind of just this campy, more fun show that you know what to expect. It does the same 4 or 5 sequences every single episode, and it's the key is that Mysticons is not that. It's kind of trying to be that type of show, this straight up magical girl show, but it's not. It is clearly a show that has a narrative progression in it. So much so it's like a very serious sequential narrative that nothing resets, and there's like a very legitimate plot. And I really think that the reason animation and the transformation sequence just does not work, given that we're a plot show. Like, this is just a plot show. It's the same thing with Voltron. The transformation sequences in Voltron are also really bad. And I actually think it's worse in Mysticons because Voltron doesn't even move the plot as much as this show does. That's the thing. Like, Voltron's a very serious narrative show, and it has like breather episodes more frequently than this show does. So, this
is maybe like our second or third breather episode.
Right. Yeah, that's it. So, there's Mysticons in contention for our most plot heavy show that we cover. And, this is not the one you want to have these things going for it.
Like, I think that like I said before, like, if you're going to use it sporadically, I think you should make it count. Like, don't just like randomly throw it into like a filler episode. Like, it doesn't work that way. So I think like if you're going to have a transformation sequence, use it and make it count. Don't like, if you're going to use it every episode, then use it every episode. But like, you can't just like use it sporadically and think that it's going to be okay, because it just sort of like I said, it took away from this episode for me. Like, the second time I watched it, I skipped over the transformation sequence because I was like, nah, I don't want to watch this. Like, I'm just going to get back to it.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think that this is the one area where the show being a mishmash of genres has not worked. I think for the most part, it's really succeeded in doing a lot of different types of things at once, being a magical girl show, being a heavy narrative show, being a, sometimes it has comedy episodes. It's like a D&D, it's based on D&D. It has, it's urban, contemporary urban fantasy. It does like modern technology things. It, at the same time, it does like, Eastern mythology things, right? It's this giant mishmash, and it's almost universally worked, which is why the show is so good. This is the one area that has really suffered from combining the genres, because you have the magical girl trope and the plot stuff, and it doesn't combine well, I think.
I think you can be like a magical girl show and not have a transformation sequence too.
Yes,
like,
I think so. I don't know why we need to do this. I like, you can do the other good, like this, to me, this is just a bad thing. Like, I don't like this in any show. So, this is just, just take it out of all the magical girl shows. They'd all be
You're
bad,
like, it's not just you, Mysticons, it's everybody.
Yeah, no, believe me, I complain about this other shows. Anyway.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's not, usually it's not going to be worth bringing up, but this episode, there's over a minute in a row with nothing new. So that was bad. Yeah. Okay. I think that exhausts most of the stuff I've got here. April, were there other moments from the episode you wanted to highlight?
I still enjoyed like the infomercial at the end.
Oh,
it was just so completely random that it was great. And I enjoyed like the side effects, and one of them was like unicorn hallucinations. Like, what are those?
We need to know. Yeah. The Vexed commercial. Yeah, what the viral spread of contained rage, and then M like cuts into the commercial and is like, "Yeah, just stop it already." Yeah.
It was also like that everyone knew the jingle. Like, I liked that gag. Like every time like they talked about it, it was so good.
Everyone was like, "Vex away," like, and then they would just go straight into the jingle.
Yeah,
it was good. It was very like, and then having the commercial at the end, it felt very, like, kind of Rick and Morty to me.
Yes.
Yes, so I really appreciated that. It just added to the whole episode.
Yeah, what did you think of the commercial, Delaney?
Oh, I liked it. I mean, I was confused at the end a little bit, but then it was funny, and like, it was, like, I agree, it was very Rick and Morty-ish, and that's what it made me think of. But I just love that, like, that kind of gag. Like, it's so stupid, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate it specifically for this episode just because of how weird it was. I don't think it's going to typically work on the show. And I also don't think it was particularly that funny on its own. I think it was just more the use of it. Like, I feel like the humor highlights are like the other stuff we're talking about. But it is a nice cap to what is one of the most unique episodes of the show. Yeah. Delaney, other things from the episode you want to talk about? And if not, final thoughts here.
Oh, I just really liked the training sequence, and then like Arcana becomes like Green Lantern and steals Zarya's bow, which was really rude. Yeah. But I like also that was like so rude, like, oh, your breath though, and then she just like hits her. It's like, Arcana, you're rude, like, jeez. So I liked that. Like, it was funny, and like it was like a good train. Like, I'm glad. Like, I like stuff like that. I like training sequences and stuff like that. But overall, I just really liked the episode. It was good. Like, it was funny, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, thumbs up. April.
It was a really good episode. It was zany and fun, and I liked it. As a filler episode, I thought it was very successful. The comedy was great, and the lines from the characters were good. It was an overall good episode. So, two thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Okay.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I think mostly 2 thumbs up. Yeah, it was, I appreciate that the show is capable of this type of thing. If our episodes are less like, if our downtime episodes are less like Gumlump and more like Vexed, then, the show will improve going forward, I think.
Great.
Yeah. So thumbs up. Next week, is a very notable episode. Mutiny Most Foul.
I'm so ready for this episode.
Oh my god, does it mean the pirates are coming back? Yay!
I mean, can you tell from the name?
Oh wait, Delaney hasn't seen the preview yet. Oh,
I'm pure.
It's gonna be good.
The preview shows, it's from the right beginning of the episode. It shows M preparing for her date with Casey.
Yeah. It's great.
But yeah, that's airing next week, and then after we have the Through My Enemy's Eyes on the 17th, and on Christmas Eve we have The Prophecy Unleashed, currently slated for Christmas Eve.
Oh geez, that's gonna be intense.
Man. It's gonna be good.
Oh god, I have to get caught up on Doctor Who. I don't have time for this. Oh my god.
For the Christmas special, yeah, with the female doctor transforming, yeah, it's happening. This is our Mysticons holiday special, The Prophecy Unleashed. No, I don't think so. But, so we'll, and then we'll be through 20 episodes of Mysticons in 2017 with 20 more in 2018.
Super hype.
Yeah. Okay, so let us know what you thought of our discussion here and join in on the conversation on our Discord, overlyanimated.com/Discord. Our Mysticons channel continues to be very active. And we got more people catching up. That's been the best part, is when we get other co-hosts to live blog. We got Andy is officially caught up on the show. Beatrice, we got randomly to catch up on the last Little Witch Academia podcast, and she's almost caught up now. Taking over Overly Animated. Find people's reactions on our Discord, overlyanimated.com/Discord. Let us know your thought in the comments on our website or on YouTube, and subscribe on YouTube or iTunes to not miss any of our future Mysticons podcasts. And you can consider supporting us via Patreon, patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Hope, aka Katara. And thanks as always to our patron executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Andy, and Hugh. If you become a patron for the month of December, you can get in on our end of the year awards voting, where I can tell you, you two need to start doing that. A strong push is being made for M for best main character. So that's where we're making our push. And it's looking good so far, but there's a lot of people who haven't voted. So that's where we're making the push. Best show, maybe,
I'm so excited to put my vote in now.
Yeah. How much do we want to try to rig it in favor of this cons? We could see, but
there's no rigging it. We're all being honest.
Yeah. There's a campaigning thing, and I'm like, Mysticons. That's my.
I'm gonna start campaigning in the Discord.
Yes, do that. You gotta influence vote. Okay, so hopefully get in on that, and we'll be back next week to discuss the pirate episode. Yep, very excited to Mutiny Most Foul. And a bunch of other stuff coming up, Overly Animated. We did a busy weekend. Make sure you check out our Ruby, Miraculous Ladybugs, Starverses, and Little Witch Academia podcasts. Another Little Witch Academia podcast coming, in addition to some other stuff at overlyanimated.com. Yep, and that's all. Thanks very much for listening, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.